Hello, I'm Natalie Blake, and I am the performance chef for your Cleveland Cavaliers, and I'm here with the Westside Market representing the Fresh Fundamental program. I'm going to be showing you my produce forward recipe, which is a king oyster mushroom tender with a carrot ginger dip. So let's get right into this. So what I love about produce, especially mushrooms, is that they can definitely become the star of your dish. And that's what I kind of want to showcase today with these beautiful king oyster mushrooms. We are going to be doing some frying today. So first, I'm going to show you how to set up our frying pan with a little bit of oil. And we're going to get that on some heat so that we'll be ready to fry once I'm done prepping our mushrooms. So we're going to come over here. I am using some avocado oil today. It has a really good smoke point. It's also just a really good quality oil, really good quality fat. I prefer that to canola, but you could definitely use canola as well. I'm just gonna put like, not even a quarter inch of oil in here, just enough oil to cover the entire bottom of your pan. And then I'm gonna put this on like low to medium heat for now. And we're just kind of gonna let this heat up while we prep our mushrooms. So what I love about these is they're super hearty and meaty. Another mushroom like this is a trumpet mushroom or a portobello mushroom. Some other options if you have those at home. I'm gonna start by cutting off these really bottom, like woody pieces. These are kind of the only pieces that are a little bit tough. The rest of the mushroom is totally edible. And then what I'm gonna do is slice these lengthwise. Think about kind of a chicken tender form. So I'm just gonna slice these lengthwise, maybe again, kind of a quarter inch slice here. So we want them to cook through. We don't want them to be spongy. So we don't want them to be too thick, but we want them to hold together, so we don't want them to be too thin either. So what I'm gonna do is kind of lay these out, and mushrooms, you know, they're kind of bland on their own, so we definitely wanna get some seasoning in here. What I have is some pink Himalayan salt. So what you might not know is there's a ton of different salts, which is very cool. So there's pink Himalayan salts, there's gray salts, there's Maldon salts, and they all have different trace minerals in them that our bodies, you know, really thrive on. So I'm just gonna season these with my pink Himalayan salt here. And I'm gonna do both sides. What I'm trying to do, I'm not only seasoning them, I'm trying to draw out a little bit of moisture. Mushrooms tend to hold on to a lot of moisture, which is sometimes when you're cooking them and you don't cook them on a high enough heat, they can seem a little intimidating because they just kind of turn into goo. So with any mushroom, you know, salting them ahead of time can be beneficial. And I'm just gonna kind of, you know, rub that salt in here a little bit. Make sure they're just really nice and seasoned, and then I'm just gonna sprinkle with a little bit of pepper just on one side. All right, in our recipe, we have a dredge system. So it's gonna be cornstarch and coconut milk. I'm gonna put about 2 teaspoons of salt into my cornstarch, and I'm gonna put about a teaspoon of salt into my coconut milk. And I'm gonna do about a half teaspoon of pepper, and a half teaspoon of pepper in my coconut milk too. So salt and peppering both of these. And dredging, basically, you know, it's just wet into dry, and I'm gonna double dredge. So I'm gonna put it into my dry and then wet and then back into my dry. So I'm gonna put all my mushrooms into my dry here. Kind of knock off the excess. And then I'm gonna put them in my coconut milk. So I'm gonna flip them over in my coconut milk and make sure they're totally coated and you don't see any more spots of your cornstarch. And then I'll put them back into my dry and see they're nice and fully coated. All right, let's see if my oil's hot enough. If I throw my cornstarch in here, fizzing up like that, and that's exactly what we want to throw one in here. There we go, that looks nice. So we're just gonna do about 2 minutes on each side. They're gonna be a little bit golden, but your batter is pretty much gonna stay consistently white. This is the first one I put in, so we can flip him over. He's looking good. Nice and light and airy coating. Nice and bubbly. See, they're just kind of lightly golden. They really aren't, it shouldn't get much darker than that. Right. And those are super crispy and they look wonderful. And then what I'm gonna do just to make sure that these are plenty seasoned is just finish these with a little bit more salt sprinkled over top of there. So what I have here, I've just chopped up about, 3/4 of a cup of carrots. So I roasted these at 350 degrees for about 15 minutes. You just want them to be like really soft to this touch, like you could stick a fork through them. So I have those here, and then I also have some fresh ginger. I'm gonna use about a 1/2 inch of this, but you can use a peeler to peel your ginger. Sometimes I'll just use the back of a spoon. I want about a tablespoon. So I've got about a tablespoon of ginger. I'm gonna put this in my blender with my carrots. Always a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. I'm gonna put some honey. I just have some raw, unfiltered, organic honey, about a tablespoon. These recipes are really forgiving too. You can adjust this to your taste. If you want something a little bit sweeter, a little more acidic, you want a little looser, a little thicker, play around with it. This is yours. I'm also gonna put in about a 1/2 tablespoon of rice vinegar, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of water too. Maybe I'm gonna start with like 2/3 of a cup. And this is just kind of gonna get everything moving in my blender here, because we want to end up with a really nice smooth sauce. I'm gonna start it on low, and then I'm gonna crank it up. And I'm just gonna let that blend for a minute and get completely smooth. All right, let's taste it. It's pretty good. I don't think I need to add anything to it. It's a little acidic, it's a little sweet, it's bright, it has a dippable consistency. I will show you what this should look like as you're kind of pouring it out. Kind of like a barbecue sauce. Okay, so now we have our beautiful carrot ginger sauce and our wonderfully crispy fried king oyster mushrooms. And I'm just gonna plate these up. A little bit of sauce here. And you can just see how crispy and beautiful these mushrooms turned out. And there you have it. I will be at the Produce Arcade at the West Side Market on February 27th doing a demo of this king oyster mushroom dish with the carrot ginger dip. Please come out and support. I hope I see you there.